In 1997, a woman escaped Robert Pickton's farm after being stabbed and nearly killed. She lived to tell police exactly who attacked her, so why was he still free 5 years later when they found human remains all over his property? The answer exposes a chilling truth about how the justice system treats victims deemed unreliable. This case isn't just about a serial killer, it's about the broken system that let him keep hunting because no one cared enough to stop him. We uncover how prejudice became Pickton's greatest weapon. Hello guys, I'm Z, and welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about one of the most savage serial killers in the entire history of Canada and the world. A man who killed 49 victims, and yet, even in prison, he told a prison cellmate that he wished to have the ability to kill another one to make it 50. At the edge of Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, the Pickton pig farm stretched across 14 acres of tangled brush and rusted machinery. Locals knew the property as the place to find cheap meat or score drugs after dark. Robert Pickton and his brother inherited the farm from their parents, but while David kept the legitimate side running, Robert turned the site into something far darker. Neighbors grew accustomed to seeing cars come and go at all hours. The parties drew drifters, drug users, and sex workers from Vancouver's downtown Eastside, just 35 kilometers away. Police later recalled getting calls about fights or trespassing, but officers rarely investigated beyond a cursory check. The farm had become a no-go zone by unspoken agreement, a place where anything could happen without interference. Pickton himself blended in easily among the visitors. Short, balding, and unremarkable, he played the role of a generous host, offering beer, drugs, or temporary shelter to women others ignored. But behind that unassuming demeanor was a calculated predator. Witnesses reported seeing Pickton taunt women with a knife during parties, pressing the blade against their throats while laughing. Some women disappeared mid-conversation, steered toward the barn or trailer by Pickton for one more drink. A former employee later told investigators about freezers full of suspicious meat bundles wrapped in garbage bags. Another recalled seeing buckets of blood dumped near the slaughterhouse. Yet when complaints surfaced, authorities dismissed them. The RCMP's only drug search of the property in 1995 found nothing but minor marijuana plants. By the time Pickton's crimes came to light, forensic teams would find DNA from 33 women on the farm. The property's layout worked in Pickton's favor. Rusted pig pens and piles of junk obscured sightlines from the road. The slaughterhouse's concrete floors made cleanup easy, while the pigs themselves could dispose of organic evidence. Even neighbors who smelled unusual odors assumed it was standard farm decay. One critical oversight came in 1997, when a woman stabbed by Pickton escaped and identified him to police. Prosecutors declined to pursue charges, citing her drug use and criminal record as credibility issues. That missed opportunity left Pickton free to keep killing for 5 more years, until a tip about illegal firearms finally brought police back to the farm in 2002. What they found wasn't just a crime scene, but an indictment of systemic indifference. Investigators pulled purses, ID cards, and watches from victims out of the mud. DNA tests matched missing women to bloodstains on mattresses and tools. Yet many officers admitted they'd known about the farm for years without acting. By then, the question wasn't just how Pickton got away with murder, but why no one stopped him sooner. The women who disappeared from Vancouver's downtown Eastside weren't just statistics. They were mothers, daughters, and sisters, many of them Indigenous, most trapped in survival sex work, addiction, or poverty. In the 1990s, the neighborhood had become a hunting ground, but no one in authority seemed to notice. Families reported their loved ones missing, only to be told they'd probably just moved or overdosed somewhere. Without media attention or police urgency, the disappearances blended into the background noise of the city's most marginalized community. Outreach workers in the downtown Eastside saw the pattern first. Women who never missed appointments suddenly vanished. Regulars at soup kitchens stopped showing up. Some left children behind with no explanation. When these workers tried to alert authorities, they hit a wall. One outreach worker later recalled how police brushed off concerns, suggesting the women were probably just on a bender. The assumption was always that these lives weren't worth investigating. The numbers tell a stark story. Indigenous women make up just 4% of Canada's female population, yet they account for nearly 25% of murdered women. In British Columbia alone, over 1,200 Indigenous women have been murdered or gone missing since the 1970s. Yet when families of missing Indigenous women pressed for answers, they often faced skepticism or outright dismissal. One mother described how police treated her daughter's case differently than others, telling her, "She's just another addicted native. We'll find her in a ditch somewhere." The lack of coordination between police departments made things worse. The Vancouver Police Department and RCMP shared jurisdiction over the downtown Eastside, but they didn't share information. Tips slipped through the cracks. Cases weren't connected. Even when families provided photos, timelines, and witness accounts, the response was sluggish. One investigator later admitted they didn't prioritize the cases because they assumed the women were transient. The truth was simpler. No one cared enough to look. By the late 1990s, the disappearances had reached a crisis point. Families and activists held vigils, demanding action. The failure wasn't just procedural, it was cultural. Society had decided these women didn't matter. Their deaths were treated as inevitable, their lives as disposable. By the time police finally searched Pickton's farm, over 24 women had already vanished. The question wasn't just how he got away with it, but why no one stopped him sooner. In March 1997, a woman from Vancouver's downtown Eastside got into Robert Pickton's truck, expecting a ride or maybe work at the farm. Instead, he took her to his property in Port Coquitlam, attacked her and left her bleeding. She fought back hard enough to escape, running naked from the farm until she reached the road. A passing driver saw her covered in blood and took her to safety. She told police everything: Pickton's name, his farm, the attack. For once, they had a living witness who could connect him to a violent crime. The case seemed straightforward. Pickton was charged with attempted murder, forcible confinement, and aggravated assault, but within months, prosecutors quietly dropped all charges. Their reasoning? The victim had a history of drug addiction. They claimed she wouldn't make a reliable witness in court, never mind that she'd identified Pickton immediately, or that her injuries matched her story. The system saw her as damaged goods, someone whose testimony couldn't be trusted. Legal experts later pointed out how common this bias was. Cases involving sex workers or addicts often stalled because police and prosecutors doubted their credibility. Even with physical evidence, convictions were rare if the victim wasn't considered respectable. In Pickton's case, the prosecutor's office never even consulted experts who worked with vulnerable witnesses. They just closed the file and moved on. On February 5, 2002, a former employee told the RCMP about illegal guns on the Pickton farm. That tip gave police the excuse they needed to get a search warrant. They weren't looking for bodies, just firearms. But within hours, the farm became the center of Canada's largest forensic investigation. Officers started in Pickton's trailer, a cramped space cluttered with junk. That's where they found an asthma inhaler with Serena Abotsway's name on it. She'd been missing for months. Suddenly, this wasn't about guns anymore. The search expanded fast. Teams in hazmat suits spent 18 months turning over every inch of the 14-acre property. They took apart buildings, sifted through piles of dirt, and even drained a sludge-filled pond. The cost would eventually hit $70 million. In the workshop, they found 2 plastic buckets. Inside were severed heads, hands, and feet, some with gunshot wounds to the skull. Heavy machinery dug up the fields in precise grids, revealing bone fragments mixed with animal remains. The pigs had been fed well. Pickton's trailer told its own story. Bloodstains on the mattress matched multiple missing women. A revolver with a dildo glued to the barrel sat in a drawer. Handcuffs, night vision goggles, and women's purses were scattered among fast food wrappers and dirty clothes. Forensic teams swabbed every surface, finding DNA from at least 33 different women. One investigator later said the place smelled like death layered over cheap air freshener. The hardest part wasn't finding evidence, it was sorting through it. Human teeth turned up in the dirt near the pig pens. Jewelry and ID cards surfaced in the mud. Some remains were so degraded they couldn't be identified. Archaeologists had to separate human bones from animal ones, a slow process that required microscopes and chemical tests. By the end, police would link Pickton to 27 murders, though the real number was likely higher. During being in jail, Pickton confessed something that shocked the entire country. Actually, it wasn't a confession. He was talking with his cellmate, but this cellmate was an undercover cop who was trying to get any information without him noticing it. Pickton told the cop that he killed 49 women. Not only that, but he was planning on killing another one to increase the number to 50. A small talk between 2 cellmates was caught on camera.
What have we done? No. Carcasses. So what do you got? You know what I'm saying? DNA. What? Yeah. What are you talking about? talking about. If you got a fucking missing person, it's fucking pretty hard to fucking cut you in there. You got DNA? No. Fucking guys are right. I found the best way to fucking dispose of something was fucking take it in the ocean. Oh, really? Oh, fuck. You know what the fucking ocean is? Ain't much left. It ain't better than that. Who? Me? No. Hey? No shit. That's gotta be fucking pretty good. Hey? Mm-hmm. Can't be much fucking left. I'm gonna stop it. You can do something. Really? Keep going. Oh, fuck. It is funny. See? Fucking gotta be fucking ridiculous. Gotta be fucking. I was under. Your hairline was up to 29. That's fucking pretty good there. That's fucking pretty good. I think you're doing something right. Fucking beautiful. Yeah, you gotta fucking But the problem, they have bigger penalty. It's a penalty. Doesn't make sense. No shit, eh? Well, they got fucking prints, you know? They got no prints. How's the church with characters? No. They didn't do it yet. Don't fucking say anything. I can let the next slide. I said we're not going to keep forward. You want to get bail? Like I said, that's like up to the judge, right? No. No shit. They don't know what to say. They what? They don't know what to say. You fucking give it a good push. Yeah. It's not like it's fucking worth it. You know? I can make things disappear. I was going to do my work. Make it even 50. That's what I was stopping people for. Yeah. I want to do one more. Make a big battle. Make the big 5 cents. That's fuck. Fucking 50. Fucking have fun. Yeah. First part. I fucking really want. How many of those? We tell. We tell. Yeah. Talk about half. Probably 1/4. Talking about all. No. You gotta get 40 equals to list. And now on the list is only half the people. The other half might a lot of it. So they got so much DNA, they can't even put a name to it. How the fuck is that off here? That helps you? Yeah. Right? That looks good on you.
Pickton's arrest should have been a turning point, but it only highlighted earlier failures. The same farm had been searched years earlier for drugs. They'd missed everything. The 1997 stabbing victim had described this trailer in detail, but no one listened. Now, with dozens dead, prosecutors could finally build a case. Yet even then, the system showed its bias. Only 6 murders went to trial. the ones with the clearest evidence. The rest were set aside as if 21 extra lives didn't justify the expense. The farm was finally quiet. No more parties, no more women vanishing into the night. But the story wasn't over. Families who'd fought for years to be heard now faced a trial that wouldn't acknowledge the full scope of Pickton's crimes. And across Canada, Indigenous women kept disappearing under the same old excuses. The search had uncovered the truth about Pickton. What it revealed about everyone else was harder to face. Robert Pickton didn't act alone. Society helped him by looking the other way. His case shows what happens when we decide some lives matter less, when addiction or poverty or race make people disposable. The system failed at every turn. Police ignored warnings, prosecutors dropped charges, and communities accepted disappearances as inevitable. Real justice means fixing the biases that let this happen. It means listening when marginalized people speak and demanding action when they're harmed. The victims weren't just names on a list. They were people who deserved better. Remember their stories, because change only comes when we stop looking away. Their lives should have mattered.